Jaipur. He will be presenting his paper on the topic Data Protection Bill. Akshat?
How many of you have seen this meme this Christmas? What is stopping Jeff Bezos from being Santa? He has the red dresses, he has the drones, he has a wish list. Like, why not? I even took the liberty of drawing what he might look like. Uh, why is this not playing? Yeah. It seems to be a rather wonderful idea. But when I got into thinking a bit more, I thought that if this Santa knows so much about us, knows the preferences and our likes, dislikes so much that he can select appropriate gifts for us, I think he can also invade our privacies and influence our lives in ways not imaginable before. Tech companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon know everything about us. Where we go, whom we meet, what we do, what we eat, what we buy, everything. And I think they know a bit too much. Recently, I was reviewing my Google ad settings, and I came to know that based on my activities, Google knows whether I am in a relationship, it knows whether I am a parent, whether I own a house, which industry I work in, what is my income level, and whatnot. Our lives are no longer private, and we are being tracked every moment of our lives. Now, don't you think that is scary? And something needs to be done about it. Well, good morning to one and all present here. I, Akshat Goel from Jaipur. I'm honored to be here in Pune. And for the next few minutes, I'm going to be discussing about the Personal Data Protection Bill that was introduced in the parliament to address this very concern. That is, to ensure the privacy of its citizens and give them control over their personal data. Data is the new oil, and governments and corporations alike are trying to gather the most of it. While so much data in the hands of corporations has its own benefits, there are also certain privacy risks. It is now an open secret that tech players sell their data to third party aggregators. You might have read WhatsApp's new privacy policy, which, by the way, you have until the Feb of 8 to accept or quit WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp says in that policy that it shares all your personal data with Facebook and other Facebook companies. You also might have noticed that now WhatsApp is slowly and steadily diluting its privacy policy towards full data integration with Facebook. Using such data available with such tech companies, anything ranging from behavior manipulation, influencing consumer behaviors, influencing voting patterns in elections, surveillance, or something downright nefarious can be done. What comes instantly to my mind is the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where the details of millions of Facebook users were leaked to a political firm, a political advisory firm, which then used them for political advertising. It has been rightly said that privacy is dead and social media holds the smoking gun. Currently in India, the usage and transfer of personal data is regulated by the Information Technology Act 2000 and the IT rules. Under them, a body corporate is liable for penalty if it discloses data without consent or is negligent in implementing security standards. There are also certain sectoral regulations framed by regulators like RBI. Although this was a novel attempt at data protection at the time it was introduced, the pace of development of the digital economy has shown its shortcomings. First of all, the IT Act was not framed with the primary intention of protecting data, nor had it foreseen the dangers of data that we see today. Its scope is very narrow, it does not apply to government and government agencies, and it does not have any regulatory teeth. Public data leaks have now become very common in India. In Feb 2020, a report by a German cybersecurity firm, Greenbone Sustainable Resilience, said that the medical details of 120 million Indian patients were available for sale on the internet. Now that is worrying and exposes the ineffectiveness of the current regime and the importance and need for a comprehensive data protection law. Which now brings us to our next question. What is the government doing about it? In July 2017, the government set up an expert committee under Justice B.N. Srikrishna to review this issue. In August 2017, the Supreme Court, in the case of Puttaswamy versus the Union of India, declared that right to privacy is a fundamental right of all citizens, and this gave a necessary boost to the committee just set up. The committee delivered its report in July 2018, and based on this report and other recommendations, the Personal Data Protection Bill 2019 was introduced in the Lok Sabha in December 2019, and thereafter referred to a joint parliamentary committee for review, where it is still there. So this bill applies to all government and government agencies, all entities and companies incorporated in India. The scope is also wide enough to cover all foreign companies if they deal with data of Indian citizens. That is, all social media companies, now whether or not they have a permanent office or company in India, would be covered under its ambit because they process data of Indians. Now, before moving forward, now it is important to know what exactly is personal data. Any data which can be identified to a natural person is a personal data. For example, if I say Akshat is 20 years old, so this is personal data because it can be identified to Akshat. Whereas if I change the name and put in a fictitious name like Mr. XYZ is 20 years old, this becomes anonymized and non-personal data, thereby outside the scope of this bill. Now, there are two more definitions I would like to discuss before discussing the provisions of this bill. Those are data fiduciary and a data principal. Now, any entity or company that collects our data and decides how it will process them is a data fiduciary. For example, all banking companies, insurance companies, airline companies, social media companies, and etc. And data principals are all individuals whose data is being processed. So all of us here are data principals. Now, the bill is built on a structure that data fiduciaries have certain obligations and responsibilities, whereas the data principals have certain rights. So first of all, I shall discuss what are the obligations of the fiduciary under this bill. Now, he has various responsibilities, such as he has to give a notice to the data principal if his data is being processed, take his consent to such processing. If he's a minor, take parental consent. He's required to undertake certain transparency measures, like frame a privacy by design policy or institute grievance redressal mechanisms. Certain companies may be notified by the government as significant fiduciaries, and they will also be required to appoint data protection officers and also get themselves audited by an independent data auditor. The concept of consent has been given specific importance under the bill, as it should be. For a consent from a data principal to be valid, it must be free. That is, it should not be induced by fraud or coercion under influence. It must be totally informed and specific. It should be clear and through an affirmative action. That is, an explicit yes has required for the consent, and a failure to say no will not suffice. Lastly, it should be capable of being withdrawn as easily as it was given. I'll take an example to show what will you write consent. In the first box, you see a notice by a website that we use cookies to enhance user experience. And we have the option to click got it or learn more. In this case, the consent is not informed, it is not clear, nor through an affirmative action. I would rather say there is no consent being sought at all because cookies are placed by default and we are just informed of it. Whereas in the second box, you see a better cookie notice, where the website says we use cookie for the following purposes like statistical, marketing, and necessary purposes. And we have the option to allow either all the cookies or allow only necessary cookies or allow a selection of the various types of cookies. Now this consent is properly informed and through an affirmative action. And we can expect such consents to be used in future when the bill is actually implemented. Now moving on to the rights of the data principal. In addition to the obligations of fiduciary, which create corollary rights for the principal as well, there are certain other rights available with him. He can obtain confirmation from the fiduciary whether his data is being processed. He can seek a correction of that data. He can obtain a summary of the data and processing activities undertaken by the fiduciary. He also has a specific right to be forgotten. In this thing, he can restrict continuing disclosure of his information if other purpose has been fulfilled or it is no longer required. Now, the bill also establishes a data protection authority. That is a regulatory authority which will implement the provisions of the bill and ensure to protect the interests of the individuals. Moving on to data localization. Data localization has been under the debate for quite many years, with many sectoral regulators like RBI giving their own guidelines. Now, this bill provides that sensitive personal data, which includes health or biometric data, your political religious beliefs, etc. It can be transferred outside India, only subject to an explicit consent by the principal or the individual, and subject to a scheme approved by the authority or approval of the central government. But it must be continued to be stored in India only. Also, certain personal data notified by the government as critical personal data can be processed only in India. Although no such definition has been provided in the bill of critical personal data, it has been left for the government to do later on. Non-compliance with the bill exposes you to a penalty of 15 crore rupees or 4% of the annual worldwide turnover, whichever is higher. Now, this 4% of worldwide turnover may seem a bit too high, but a similar 4% penalty is provided in the European law as well, using which the courts have levied fines as high as 50 million euros or 400 crore rupees on companies like Google. Now, having discussed the provisions of the Indian bill, I would like to discuss what are the other countries doing about data protection. The map is not properly visible over there, but no problem. Now, over 80 countries have certain data protection regulations. The club India is about to join soon. The United States follows a laissez-faire approach, where there's minimal market intervention into the data protection regime. Whereas the Europe has recently implemented a comprehensive general data protection regulation, that is GDPR, which came into effect in 2018, and since then has become the gold standard of all privacy regulations worldwide. China also has a data protection law, but it is more focused on averting national security risks, in which sense it is more like an intelligence tool than a citizen's tool. The Indian bill is primarily based on the same principles as a European bill, that is the principles of consent, the obligations of fiduciary, or the rights of the principal. But it also differs on certain key aspects, such as there are different definitions for the terms like personal data, sensitive data. There are more data audit and localization requirements under the Indian bill, and significant exemptions granted to the government in the Indian bill, which are not present in the European counterpart. The bill is not without its critics. It has been criticized heavily on several grounds, the most important of which is the controversial Section 35. This section provides the government of India with the power to exempt itself or any of its agencies from any of the provisions of this bill very easily. That is just by a written order. Experts believe that the chances of abuse of this power are immense, and we run the risk of turning India into an Orwellian surveillance state. Other criticisms include that the bill is quite ambiguous, in the sense that many terms and many provisions have been not defined in the bill and have been left for the government to do later on. For example, I just said critical personal data has not been defined. Now, this must be addressed, else we might have another GST, where there are more notifications and circulars than the act itself. It has been also criticized on the grounds that data localization will hamper the flow of data and hereby economic activity as well. And the differences of the Indian bill with the foreign counterparts will lead to lack of interoperability. Now, till now, we have discussed the bill in the form it was introduced in the Parliament in 2019. Since then, it has been under review by a joint parliamentary committee under the chairmanship of Srimati Meenakshi Lekhi. The committee has till now interviewed all major companies, including Google, Facebook, Ola, Uber, Paytm, all companies that collect a lot of personal data, and is now pursuing clause-by-clause discussion of the bill. The members of the committee are strongly of the opinion that the bill needs a complete overhaul. They are likely to expand the scope of the bill from just personal data to overall data protection, with an increased focus on data localization, data digitization. Now, they are also expected to address the various ambiguities in the bill. Just yesterday, I got the news that the committee has approved around 89 amendments to the bill, and the bill is expected to be tabled in the parliament in the upcoming budget session. Going by the experience of Europe, implementing the bill in India is going to be difficult as well. European companies were given a period of 2 years as transition period in order to comply with the provisions of the bill and review all their policies. And a similar or even a greater period can be expected in India as well. India must learn from the mistakes made by Europe and not repeat them. Now, government should come up with more clearer and proper implementation guidelines and run awareness campaigns to inform all companies and individuals of their obligations and rights under the bill, under the law when it actually passes. Companies will also need to start early implementing the bill and not wait for the end moment of the transition period. When the bill is actually enacted, it will usher in a new era of digital India, where individuals will be equal stakeholders and shall decide whether and how the data is processed. Tech giants shall be brought to account for the unethical activities for which no punishment existed till date. Although certain business models may be rendered unfeasible by the new regime, opportunities shall open up for data professionals and data companies. Data security and innovation shall work hand in hand towards a brighter and safer internet. If all goes well, the Santa we talked about in the beginning will only be delivering us gifts and not spying on us in the process. Thank you for being a wonderful audience.
Can you just explain something about WikiLeaks in very short?
About?
WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks, as I know, is a website which obtains all leaked documents and publishes them freely online. Recently, a lot of leaks have been made on WikiLeaks, all major leaks which have prompted governments of many countries to undertake corruption, anti-corruption activities and everything. It also has certain concerns regarding data privacy as well, because certain private data of individuals belonging to companies may be leaked onto WikiLeaks and available for the public for misuse. Thank you.
One more. You know, nothing in life you get free. You agree with this?
Yes, sir.
So the websites which you are using, like WhatsApp, others, those are providing you free services. So can't they have a right to earn money out using the data?
So as I said, there is no freelance. They are not providing us actually free services. In addition to the, in response to the services provided by them, we are providing access to our data and allowing them to provide ads to us. But there has to be a certain limit. In addition to the right to earn money out of providing us services, we also have a right to privacy. They cannot just invade our privacies and do surveillance over us. There has to be a balance to be maintained. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshat, for such informative paper presentation. I would also like to highlight that he is an All India ranker with highest ever marks in the CA Intermediate in the history of ICAI.